Greetings, petrol heads. Welcome back to Automation, a car company tycoon game. Today, I'm gonna continue showing you the 2016 lineup of ESE. This one is new, as you can see. I just built it. It is the Conqueror Mark VI. And it is continuing the trend of of the previous generation, which is to go more into the GT sort of direction, move away from the sports car only kind of philosophy we've previously had with this car. And looks, I think I did a decent job with those white indicator stripes, accentuating these vents that I used here, just giving the front end a nice little touch. Also, the LEDs are not in this vent, but rather in that grille, which also I think makes it look a little bit more unique. On the rear end, we have, some white stripes here and LEDs for lights. Also, some braking lights down here, quad exhausts. Pretty simple, but also I think elegant. To suit this sort of style of car, the GT car. It's not overly aggressive, is what I'm getting at. Although you can still see that this thing is gonna pack a punch. This comes with two engine choices, and both of them are naturally aspirated. And you might be saying, "Oh, we're in times of downforce, not downforce, downforce too, but downsizing is what I meant to say." Well, first of all, 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, 420 horsepower, the same that we used in the Growler. So first of all, if it's gonna be viable there, why wouldn't it be here? And then also, Ford has a 5-liter naturally aspirated 420 horsepower V8 too on sale in the Mustang GT. So why wouldn't we be able to use it? This is made entirely from aluminium. I haven't mentioned that. Both on the chassis and the panels. We got double wishbones front, multi-link suspension rear. I could actually show you just this tab right here and talk about it a little bit. 4 seats, luxury interior and infotainment, a river drive of course, 7-speed double clutch gearbox. The economy is not that good, but neither is it on what would this compete with? I guess there is a V12 version of this as well, by the way, and that one is going to compete with the Aston Martin Vanquish. And I'm kind of hesitating to say that the V8 would compete with the V8 Vantage, because the V8 Vantage is a smaller car. It doesn't really fall into the same category, but kind of. So if we add plus 50% onto this thing, it costs 44 grand only, which is really, really cheap for a luxury GT car with a V8. It'll do 0 to 100 in 4.7 seconds. Actually, the top speed is, it's gearbox limited. Then give this a second look. I'm an idiot. So we got a 0 to 100 kilometers an hour acceleration time of 4.7 seconds. Top speed is over 300 kilometers an hour. So that's pretty good, I would say. So the ride is gonna be pretty smooth. We have 48 comfort, 45.4 prestige, and that is with the V8. Remember, the V12 is gonna score better comfort because of higher smoothness and higher prestige because it's got more cylinders and more capacity. So let's hear this thing roar. Yeah, it's sort of not that impressing. Not impressive. Not that impressive because it is still a pretty heavy car, 1700 kilograms, and with the V8, 420 horsepower is obviously like nothing to just sneeze at, but still for a car this heavy, you might want a little bit more. The first split is the quarter mile time, which is 12.97 seconds, so 13 seconds flat for this one, you could say. And then the V12, well, that's going to be a different animal. Obviously, like everything on the chassis and panel section is the same. Also, the aesthetics are exactly the same. I didn't change anything on those. Funnily enough, this uses quite a bit less fuel than the V8. It is heavier. It's got 525 horsepower. It's got rear drive still, the same 7-speed double clutch gearbox, but with longer gearing, of course. It is a 6-liter V12, and again, don't shout at me. It's the same as you get in a Vanquish, and then also the successor to the Ferrari FF will also have a naturally aspirated V12, and that's coming next year. So stop complaining. This does 0 to 100 in 4.3 seconds. And I geared it and set the aerodynamics in such a way that it would reach 200 miles an hour, but not more. Because, I don't think anybody would look at a car that goes 200 miles an hour and then drive it at 200 miles an hour and then say, oh, this is too slow, I want to go even faster. Yep, this is quite a bit faster than the V8. Also does the quarter mile in 12.4, which is not that amazing, but again, it's a heavy car. Sort of heavy. I mean, the Vanquish is probably heavier, but still. I still kind of like that this has torque pretty much everywhere. Look at the fact that just over 2000 RPM, you're already making more than 90% of its max torque, and you're making 90% of the max torque up until like almost 7,000. So while it does have a pretty substantial peak here between 4 and 5,000, it's still pretty well balanced across the board. Also, this thing is quite reliable, this engine. And with a plus 50% markup, this one will cost just $52,000. I'm amazed at how cheap this is. But in any case, that was the Conqueror. You may also remember the name of the next car, ESE Firestorm. I haven't gotten to building a front-wheel drive version of this car, in addition to the hardcore all-wheel drive one. I'll be getting to that, but it's probably gonna happen off camera. So this has some pretty obvious rivals today: the A45 AMG Mercedes, the Audi RS3, the BMW M135i, the Focus RS, those cars. And it does have a 2-liter turbocharged inline-4 engine, and you can see that once the turbo comes in, it gives it so much torque, and it revs to 8,500 RPM, making 380 horsepower. Got a little bit of valve float, but that's okay. Economy is not fantastic. Then again, this is supposed to be a driving machine. It's not about fuel economy. It has a 7-speed double clutch gearbox, as like the Conqueror. Electric limited slip differential. 65% of the power is going to the rear wheels, 35% to the front. 265mm tires front and rear. Very sporty suspension setup. Magnesium rims of 19-inch diameter. I was sort of hesitant about the tire quality because with +5 quality, it doesn't increase. It doesn't really gain me anything. Like, yeah, these stats are looking green, but if we go back to 0, yeah, we gain 0.3 drivability. We don't gain anything in acceleration, and it has 0.2% less wheel spin, so it's not really worth it. We got carbon ceramic brakes in this thing as well. Could reduce the size? No, but I don't wanna. With a fully clad under tray, plenty of cooling, some quality into the aerodynamics as well. Reaching 276 kilometers an hour, which is not that much. But then again, it's a hot hatchback, so I mean it doesn't have to go 200 miles an hour. Let's put it that way. 4 seats, sport with +3 quality on the interior side, standard entertainment, standard safety, launch control, very important, active sport, and then I did spend quite a bit tuning the suspension, which is why I didn't have time for the front wheel drive car. Has 43.7 drivability. At first I was making like really low drivability, but I got around that with changing the suspension setup. Sport assist at 59, which is still okay, I would say. So let's try and see what this does. So 12.4 second quarter mile, exactly like identical to the, what's the previous car? Yeah, the V12 Conqueror. This does the quarter mile as fast as the V12 Conqueror. That's kind of crazy. Yeah. I didn't show the rear end, I think, yet. So I'm pretty happy with how the rear end turned out as well. I like it. And yeah, this is not really something you take to your daily shopping trip. I mean, of course you can, because it's a hatchback, but like it has where is it? Push rod rear suspension, and push rod rear suspension doesn't really make for a huge trunk, because it takes up quite a lot of space, because it goes, horizontally here rather than, being connected underneath the wheel arches here. Like it has these springs that go here across, like between the two wheels, which a multi-link setup wouldn't have. So yeah, it takes quite a bit more space here. But that is okay, because we are making pretty good performance. $144.6 around Laguna Seca, which is let me look it up. 144.6. That is faster than a Shelby GT500 with the 510 horsepower. I don't know when this is from. That's like the 2006 or so model year. It is faster than a Porsche 911 Carrera. It's faster than a Jaguar XFR. Faster than a Chevy Camaro SS, faster than BMW 135i Coupe, faster than the current Golf R, and that's sort of the current, big rival. The Golf R does it in 146.0. This does it in 144.6, so 1.4 seconds faster. I don't have a lap time for the A45 AMG, but I do have a lap time for the Subaru Dario RX STI, and that is 147.16. So this car is 2.5 seconds faster than that. Yeah, and I mean, and you can sort of compare the STI hatchback to this one, even though it's a little bit less powerful. Yeah, so a front-wheel drive version of this car is probably going to be it's going to be made as well. Don't worry. And last up is the ESE Rhino. Again, a power SUV with like way too much power, way too much acceleration for what you'd expect, and yeah, just crazy acceleration. Not so much focused on luxury as its German competitors, but more focused on performance. I built this one like ages ago. It is also from aluminium. I didn't even remember that. Double wishbones front, multi-link rear. It's all-wheel drive, of course. It has the same twin-turbo V8 that you find in a Growler 660. So this is the 660 horsepower twin-turbo V8. 7-speed double clutch, electric LSD, 65% power to the rear, 35% to the front. It has, for some reason, like it should have equally sized tires on both ends. 285s front and rear. Wait, it should have 305s. I remember this having 305s on both ends. That's okay. I mean, 285s are already like pretty wide, especially for an all-wheel drive car. Where the all-wheel drive car obviously has a natural traction. Can I not extend this any further? No? Okay. Yeah, and as I said, I built this like ages ago. So the design is like a little bit more simplistic. Maybe not to everyone's likings on the rear end, but that's, you're if you're seeing it from behind, you're probably not going to see it for too long anyway, because of this right here, 3.1 seconds. Funny, this goes exactly 0.1 kilometers an hour less than the Firestorm. What's this do around Laguna Seca anyway? .143.68, so that is faster than an Alfa Romeo 4C. Damn. And faster than I think that's the last generation Cadillac CT-SV, the one with the 564 horsepower. Yeah, that's the last generation. Faster than the BMW i8, and pretty much on par with the Bentley Continental GT3R. Yeah, so not too shabby, I'd say. It has 7-speed double clutch gearbox. We've been there. Alloy rims, carbon brakes, fully clad under tray, just enough cooling. Sport interior +5 quality. Again, take this as like a sort of supercar kind of interior, like something you'd get not in a Bentley or in a Rolls-Royce, but rather in something like a Lamborghini. That's the sort of stuff you're looking at here on the interior. Active sport suspension. Again, very sporty setup. Costs 50 grand. I don't think we're gonna be able to sell it for that. 65 grand perhaps. Yeah, okay. And then if the 660 horsepower isn't enough for you, if 3.1 seconds 0 to 100 time is just a little bit too slow for you, we got this one that does it in 2.9. This is just basically not even meant to be a realistic build. By the way, I know that in this day and age you can't build a 7-liter twin turbo V8, but just for the fun of it, 750 horsepower with, as you can see, a very, very wide power band, lots of torque. And yeah, still all-wheel drive, still a 7-speed double clutch gearbox, still sports tires. With 285s front and rear, electric diff. Yeah, nothing's changed on the interior either. So now, let's see what this does. $143 flat. That is on par with the Aston Martin V12 Vantage and the Porsche Cayman S, as well as the Ford Mustang Boss 302 Laguna Seca of the previous generation Mustang. So being on like an SUV like this, being able to lap Laguna Seca just as fast as a Porsche Cayman S, a lightweight sports car, and a track-focused Mustang, that's pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, we're gonna be charging more for that with the +50 markup. $78,600. Actually, the price gap would be way too harsh though between this and the 500. But it's, this is never gonna exist anyway. Not only because, well, I'm not gonna be able to build cars in real life at any point in my life, probably. Also because, like, as I said, you can't build a 7-liter twin turbo V8 in this day and age, and put it on sale. But again, just for the fun of it, it's a pretty sweet car, I'd say. And that sums it up. There is no hypercar anymore, like no 400 plus kilometer an hour car, no $1 million hypercar, because it is just too expensive to make. It didn't pay off the first time we made a hypercar, and therefore we just kind of expanded our model range a little bit. But that's gonna be it for ESE. Don't forget to send in your entries for the community challenge. Entries are open until end of this week, so until Sunday. And hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Automation. Leave a like or a comment if you did. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week with the reviews of the fan build competition entries. See ya.